Good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about crazy weather because there's a lot of really odd weather happening.
But while we do that, we're going to pick our raspberries. They happen to be ready a month early, but ready they are, and we're going to pick them.
As you can see, our raspberry patch is doing awesome right now. I have not fertilized this or picked off the old dying branches for a couple years, but the bounty in here is amazing. I hope the camera's picking all these up, but they look wonderful. We've been coming out every evening and picking a few for dessert.
So we're going to go ahead and start picking. Something that I learned, you probably have heard about me talk about it. I've been going to this conference. I wouldn't even call it a conference, but it's called Alaska Plants as Food and Medicine, and it's this 4-day event that you can go to. I get CE credit for it for my licensing. But something that I learned from them is that you only want to pick 2/3 of the berries that you see. You want to leave some berries, and when you do that, then you have better harvest the following years. So just a little nifty tidbit that I've picked up from living up here.
This year's harvest is looking so good, and these things are ripe. Most of them are just coming right off, and some of them are even starting to fall off on their own. So one of the weird weather things that's going on up here is that these berries, and also like the salmon berries, blueberries, and just pretty much the berries, are all ripe about 3 to 4 weeks before they normally are. And we're not sure if that's because there was a weak winter and an early summer, or what's going on. But all we know is we need to get these things off the plants so they don't just start rotting away. We also need to get these berries picked before the black bears come in and raid our patch. It's a very regular occurrence that black bears come through our neighborhood and just munch on everybody's berries. Here's something else I wanted to show you. This is a cottonwood tree that's in our yard. And keep in mind, it's like the very early August. But we noticed this a few days ago when it was still July, but the leaves are already starting to fall. And that is 3 to 4 weeks ahead of schedule.
Especially because when they started falling, it was still warm. It wasn't cold per se. It had started drizzling and getting rainier, but it was still warm.
So if you remember the videos from earlier this summer when we were fishing the Copper River for those reds, the timing of the runs was all off. And that's another thing that is really off this year, is that fish are showing up early. Some salmon runs aren't even showing up at all. They might be late. Some fish are bigger, like the pink salmon. They're actually showing up bigger this year. Not the volume, but the sheer size of the fish. And here in Seward, we have a pretty big silver salmon run, and it just hasn't really shown up yet. We probably should have been out here a week ago, because some of them are already starting to mold. We're very apprehensive about what it's going to be like when we head up to the hunting grounds in a couple weeks for our annual caribou harvest. It's a very long drive, and we would hate to come home empty-handed. But if everything else is off, these caribou and their migration patterns might be a little bit off. So we're going to go up there, kind of like we did for those Copper River Reds. We'll be up there as long as it takes to make a harvest. If you couldn't tell already, we place a very high value on eating wild or organic or all natural products. There's enough chemicals in those special foods that you treat yourself to every now and then that we don't need to add to it by eating crap on a day-to-day basis. It really is amazing how many raspberries we have in here this year. Well, we've picked what we wanted to from the outside here, right by the lawn. Now it's time to go into the middle of the raspberry patch. Grab a colander. I have a trail from the last time I weeded in here, and I think it was actually one of the little trails that the bears made, and it goes right on our side of this raspberry patch. And we share the raspberry patch with our neighbors because it's like right in the middle of our two property lines. Fortunately, there's no bears in here right now. I feel like I'm not even making a dent, which I guess is a good thing, because we will now invite some of our friends over to come pick raspberries. And it's also good because we're gonna leave plenty for the plants. Okay guys, I'm about done. There's still so many berries left here. Conveniently, Rebecca finds a way of going inside just about the time when it's needed to crawl into these bushes. So is there some strange and unusual weather happening in your part of the world? If so, we'd love to hear what's going on there. So please leave that in the comment section below. So that's today's harvest. Not bad at all. Now we're gonna take them in and clean them. We like to do what's called an IQF method, which is individual quick freeze. So we'll clean them, maybe put a little bit of vinegar on them, and then lay them out on a cookie sheet flat and freeze them. So they freeze as an individual berry, and then you can use them later for jams or whatever. But if you just put them all into a Ziploc bag, it's great if you're gonna make jam because it's really no big deal if they're all clumped together. But if you wanna break them apart for like a smoothie, for example, it does turn into one big block of raspberries. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share raspberries with your friends, and most importantly, enjoy the ride.